Rethought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. Rethought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Rockin The Love. He's Gil.
And that's Robin. And we are coming to you from our lovely studios here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we're just greeting you all from wherever you might be, from morning to afternoon to evening to nighttime to desert to sea to wherever you are. Thanks for showing up.
Yes, what he said. So today, on Rockin The Love, if you've never been here, this is a show really about relationship. And not only our relationship to our partners or our loved ones, but our relationship to ourselves. Which is sometimes the most exhausting relationship of all. But today we're talking about forgiveness.
Ooh.
Forgiveness.
Did you tell me about this before? Because this doesn't sound comfortable.
Yeah, it's forgiveness kind of gets a bad rap, though, don't you think? It's like,
it does. It does in a way.
It means different things to different people in different ways, and sometimes people think it means letting someone off the hook or pretending that they didn't get hurt or things like that. But it's real forgiveness is a whole different thing. It's really about.
Forgiveness is not denial.
I'm in the middle of a sentence.
I interrupt you.
But because I was breathing and having a thought. I was just going to say forgiveness is really, it's about liberation and radical freedom and letting go in a whole different way. So
radical freedom from myself.
Look out our window.
Okay, hang on. Excuse me while I look out the window.
Well, I didn't think you'd have to do that.
Oh, there it is. There's 2 roadrunners in our yard, ladies and gentlemen. 2. We do, in fact, live in a desert.
We do. And they're
beautiful.
So cute. They're really cute. And we discovered that they live in the tree next door.
So now we have to plant trees in our yard. Even though we're in the middle of the desert, we're going to have to find some appropriate trees and plant them.
And we've been leaving water out for them, except they never seem to come when there's the water.
Right.
Here it's a very timely deal. Like if you miss it, the sun gets the water first. But
we try to add to the general humidity of the area.
Yeah. So we try to leave water out for them, but I think they're missing it. But they're just so cute. They're really sweet. And I heard that their symbol, their Native American symbol, is like they're the birds of protection. They bring protection. There's some more stuff with that too, but that's what
we'll have to look up
yesterday.
Roadrunner medicine.
Yeah.
See what it is.
That's what it is. That's part of it.
Most of us grew up with Roadrunner medicine being able to escape and be very clever.
Well, I think there's that too, but also I always thought Roadrunner was beep 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 on the cartoon. And these don't look anything like that.
Oh no, they look. Cartoon was obviously cartoonized.
But really, they look like a whole different animal. They're not identifiable like that.
Well, Look at Homer Simpson. Does he really look like a man very much?
That's different. That's a cartoon.
I know.
But it's like
so
if you're looking at a dog or a fox
So-
or a mouse, they look like a dog or a fox or a mouse, even if they're wearing a hat or overalls.
So was the Roadrunner was a cartoon. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on.
Woo!
Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about forgiveness and what that really means, and what it entails, going forth. So, speaking of a desert, it's a cool 90 degrees here today.
Oh my gosh! Thank gosh, it's dropped down a bit. Generally, by this time, it is darn near 100, and it's been 100 or more virtually every day for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's,
And it's not terrible.
it's not
Just
terrible, but
is.
being a California girl, being California people, in my perception of weather is very simple. It's sunny, it's not sunny, it's cold, it's hot. It's not like, all these different variations of a theme. And here in the desert, it's like, I know it's 90 or 100 degrees, but I'm sorry, it feels different than when it's 90 degrees in the valley, in LA,
Yeah.
or 100 degrees. It's like a different humidity and this and that. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just a whole different experience. That's pretty good, 74 in Ohio.
Yeah. Well, I remember driving in San Francisco on one of those days when it was 103 in San Francisco, which is totally unheard of.
Right.
And it did not feel like 103 feels here, because there you couldn't sweat. It was so much more moist because of the ocean and the air that it made it very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. But hey, here when you have it for 2 weeks at a time, you kind of start to get used to it. You go outside in the afternoon, you go, oh, it's 95. It's cooled off. Isn't that great? So,
Well, and the minute there's a breeze, it feels like a whole different weather
That's right.
thing.
that's right. There's a breeze. Look, there's clouds.
It's crazy. Anyway, that's the weather. That's the weather. And I know that it's like that all over the place. Let us know what the weather is where you are. Because it seems like everywhere has shifted. It's not as predictable as it once was.
Yes, that is true.
So, what a week. Anything exciting in your week?
Yeah, all kinds of things are exciting. The week is the week. I continue to move on. I'm happy and I'm grateful to be here today. Really, I am. And I've felt very productive, and that's a good thing. So, what about you?
The week is good. I just was contemplating, as you were saying that, I was contemplating telling my producer, Michael Menges, to make a note that we need to do a workshop on how to talk on camera. Because you lead in with this, yes, pretty exciting, a lot of exciting, so many exciting things. And my week was pretty good. Well, inquiring minds want to know. You don't give the lead to a story and then not tell a story. And you who likes to tell a story, I would think would pick something and make it exciting. But anyway, I was just having a moment of reflection and judgment all at once. So there you have it. If you're interested in taking my Talking for Radio podcast TV broadcast, please put your name in the chat and we'll get in touch with you.
We will.
My week. My week is really good. I am noticing here's what I'm noticing in the week. Do you remember, really, when I could, hello, Shay, when I could be productive for 18 hours out of the day? I could keep going. I could do all kinds of things. And now I just don't want to.
Yes.
I don't know that it's that I can't, but when I go, oh yeah, I'm tired, as opposed to going, oh yeah, I'm tired and muddling through and doing something else, I go, yeah, I'm tired. What am I going to do now? And I decide not to do it anymore. And I'm like, what's happened? Because right now I have a block of things that I have got to get done. I just have to. There's just no two ways about it. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get all of those things done.
And knowing about things in your to-do list, you are much better able to allow things to come to you than you once were, I believe.
I don't really know what that means.
Of course not.
No, I'm sorry.
But you have taken care of one of the hugest things on your list by making a phone call yesterday to someone who said, I'd like to talk to you about this.
Right.
That could be construed as part of this whole giant thing you have to do, but it basically, you have a really good start on the potential for that to even out pretty quickly.
Okay, I get it. I get what you're saying. And okay, yes, thank you, and thank you, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Jehovah, God. Thank you. And that, having put that in place, having put one thing in place, propels me into 10 different things to do. Because who's going to write the announcement for the newsletter? And who's going to, I've got to let the board know, and I've got to let this happen. And I've got to write and I've got to invite the practitioners to have a conversation, and I've got to.
Don't I know?
So, but I'm just saying, it's like, it was a simpler time before.
It was a simpler time.
Apparently, Michael would like us to talk about it.
He's convinced that somehow this duck is going to help us with the simpler time.
Well, maybe so. So anyway, that's the story. So yeah, so that's the way my week has been. And thank you for acknowledging that and reminding me that, yes, I do. There are things that I do move through quickly. And, I think that's my challenge right now, is figuring out why, when I move through things quickly, I can't move through and let them go, as opposed to moving through and having 20 more things to do.
Refilling the hole.
That's right. And I don't think I'm trying to, because another show. Anyway, so that's all. And then, of course, I'm wearing my magic hat, one of my magic hats, my many magic hats, and it worked last week. So Dodgers are back in action, not on a losing streak, and that makes me happy. And that's all I got.
And actually, I just want to share with folks that some of the best times we ever have here in the desert of Albuquerque is when we go somewhere and somebody else has an LA hat on. I'm just letting you know, it'll change the entire mood of the event, whatever it might be.
Well, it's like seeing people from your tribe. It is. It's like, and for me, it's like, I'm in LA. Just for that brief moment, I'm like, oh, my people. Anyway, I know you're all my people, but you don't all have the uniform. So there we go. Uniform. That's
a whole nother discussion. All right.
Well, as if that wasn't good news enough, we've got more. So let's share the good news, because we need it. We need the good news in the world. We need to hear what's going on. So many people are doing great things, and gosh, so many things are being discovered and remembered, and it's just miraculous to see it all. So we're going to talk about it. What do you got?
All right. So I'd like to let you know about a woman named Maribel. And Maribel, some 70 years ago, played on in the girls' professional baseball league. We've all heard of or seen the movie A League of Their Own, which was about exactly that. It was about that whole time frame. Well, for about the last 70 years or so, that league has not existed. And this woman is now a honorary member of the board and threw out the first pitch at the new Professional Women's Baseball League, which started on August 1st. They have 4 teams from around the country. And so Maribel, who's 99,
wow, showed
up in her wheelchair, said, by God, if she had to crawl, she was going to be there. And she threw out the first pitch. And as things would have it, she's this very distinguished lady. She has this big head of hair and these big glasses on. And well, that's actually exactly what they used to create the mascot for the Pro Women's League is Maribel. She's the mascot. So there's somebody wearing a uniform and wearing this big Maribel head. It's very cute.
That's great.
But it's interesting, it seems so odd that this is so far out from the norm, but finally things are moving in a direction where perhaps there's more opportunities for more people.
Well, I love that story, and I love the fact that Maribel really gets to see this in her lifetime.
Oh yeah, they were talking about that circle, where she was in the beginning and saw it end in the whole thing, and then wow, here she is. And then that's part of why she's supporting it, because she's so excited.
That's such a good lesson to all of us, because so much of the time we think we're not doing anything or getting something done, when in reality it could take 99 years.
Right.
Like what you start, you don't always get to see it finished. So that's great.
That is really true. Because what we believe is that unless you see whatever you envisioned as the finished product, you haven't gotten anywhere. We totally deny the spaces in the middle. And we have to remember that if we see the steps along the way, things happening, whether or not we get to the last step, doesn't mean we haven't contributed to the process. So all right.
There you have it. Well, my story is about a dog and a duck.
What?
A dog and a duck.
Oh my gosh.
And so this story is about this family who owned a golden retriever, and they had her for a while, and they realized she had seizures. And so the doctors gave the dog seizure medicine and everything, and he got better. However, it really dampened his spirit, and he wasn't the same playful kind of golden retriever type dog that golden retrievers are. And so they ended up bringing home a duck who had been born at an elementary school, and it was just supposed to be a temporary thing. And the dog and the duck, the dog's name is Barley, the duck's name is Louie, and they brought him home, and they realized all of a sudden that this duck and this dog had this relationship that was bringing the dog back to its true self. And the golden retriever, which was like 7 years old, was, they were worried that he was really going to be withdrawn for the rest of the time. But she just came back. All of her fun, all of her spunk, all of that came back, and she was playing with the duck, and they play and they run around. And if you watch the video, there's a video of them on Good News Network. That the duck goes into the dog's mouth, and they chase each other around the yard, and
they snuggle up.
The duck has really become the dog's support animal, and they just instantly fell in love with each other, and the dog started smiling again and being happy and wagging her tail, and so it's just the duck brought back that that joy and that silliness and all of that, and they are just the cutest thing ever. But it just, again, to me, this story just speaks to like what we don't know. Like we say, it became the dog's support animal, but like it became the dog's support animal, and that sounds funny, but it's like how we don't know. We just don't know, and it's just so similar to things that happen in our life. So it's a very fun story if you find it out there, and they're very cute. And that's all just about the oneness of life. So when we come back, we're going to talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness. Whew. Yeah. So stay tuned. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say right now. Stay tuned. Don't go away. Watch all those commercials that are coming up because there's lots of great things happening out there, including conference that we'll be involved in, and we'd love to have you join us. And come right back here to New Thought Media Network.
Imagine a gathering where inspiration becomes action, where spiritual vision becomes a shared future, and where the power of new thought comes alive in community. Join us for New Thought in the Desert 2026, Living the Power of New Thought. We are getting together September 17th through the 20th in Las Vegas. Begin by putting love into action through sacred service. Then experience inspiring speakers and spiritual leaders from Unity, Centers for Spiritual Living, Agape, and beyond, along with powerful conversations, interactive experiences, and a collaborative vision for the future of our movement.
I focus on harmony. How do I live into that?
Celebrate with Faith Rivera in concert. Celebrate, communicate, connect. Together we are living the power of new thought. Join us in Las Vegas. Visit lasvegascsl.org to learn more and register today.
The Heal Your Life Workshop Leader and Life Coach Certification Training, approved personally by Louise Hay, is coming to San Diego. Facilitated by expert trainers Anna Milkick and Christy Dixon. This 3-month training includes multiple sessions on Zoom and 10 days in beautiful San Diego. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform their lives.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Hello, welcome back to Rockin The Love. I'm Robin.
And I'm Gil, and we are your hosts here on Rockin The Love, and we have been lovingly and enjoyously most of the time doing this for the last, 4 years almost?
Something like that. No,
It's insane. 3 at least.
I don't know. Perhaps our producer knows.
I know we started in January.
Except he's standing on his head, so we're not
Well,
sure.
laying down sideways and taking a nap. I don't know what he's up to. Anyway, We've been doing it for a while. We love it. And I think the thing that we love about it is that it makes us think about different things. Wait, who's that guy?
Breaking news.
Breaking news, yes, 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And you still put up with me.
And you still put up with us. So, it's a pretty good balance.
Yeah, and 4 years and Shay's still here.
Right. And I wanted to ask, Robin, when are you going to hold your class for radio and TV performers speech lessons? When is that coming up?
We'll have to get on that and figure out. I think it should be a destination class.
Should we come up with the tuition for Gil, or?
Oh dear God, Gil needs the intensive.
All right. Well, you guys have a great show.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
All right. So, speaking of intensives, though, you might have seen in that commercial the commercial for New Thought in the Desert, and we'd love for you to join us there. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to see you. We'd love to explore all the topics we're going to explore there. Tell them what we're going to explore, Bob.
Well, Robin and I have been working on this with some other people for quite some time, so 6 or so months at least. And we're talking about the power of new thought, looking at celebration, communication, and connection. And the whole idea is that, new thought is bigger than any one group. It's really this broad understanding of spirituality which exists. And so the idea is to bring together those that we can, those that are interested, and to do stuff together, talk together, get to know ourselves and one another more, and figure out how do we know that what new thought offers is powerful. It is powerful. And so often we're not sure how to share that so that others can have a choice as to whether they think the power of it will serve them. And that's all part of what this is how do we do that in a loving, generous way in our world?
So besides all that, it's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be fun, and there's Faith Rivera's doing a concert. There's music throughout, and there's a catered dinner, and there's happy hours, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a
continental
blast.
breakfast on a regular basis, it seems.
Yep.
So, there'll be a variety of ways. There'll be speakers, there'll be interactive panels, there'll be interactive activities, and pretty much everybody who's participating will be coming and participating in the whole thing. And so people will be up in front and people will be down on the floor with the rest of us. And, so it's not bringing in the specialists or the sages on the stage. It's really about bringing in all of us together.
And having connection. So, and you will be fed in a variety of ways. So think about it, and we'd love to see you there.
Yes, and you'll see on your screen lvcsl.org. New Thought in the Desert at lvcsl.org.
Yeah, you can get more information there. So today we're talking about forgiveness. And what that really means, whether it's that letting someone off the hook or, real forgiveness or, just all the things that go on in our mind, the old stories, the fears, the voices, the outdated scripts that we play, and letting, how do we let them go and forgive them? So that's what we're talking about today. And we're doing the book study of the 5 gifts of abundant living.
Spiritual abundance
by Diane Harmony. And we're taking a week for each one of the topics in there to explore that. And this week
is week 3. We started with gratitude. Last week we talked about intentions.
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 And this week is forgiveness. And Shay has actually been following along with the worksheets. You too can have a worksheet if you would like by giving us your email in the chat, and we'll be happy to send out this week's or any of the weeks you've missed about the other topics. So, forgiveness. What does that? What does that even mean to you?
Well, I think so often forgiveness is somehow associated with almost like emotional or spiritual bypass. Like, oh, we're just going to put it aside. We'll forgive it. It didn't happen. It's no big deal. Doesn't bother me. Didn't affect me. I'm letting it go. And I think it's really much deeper than that. And actually, that type of dealing with it means that you really haven't dealt with it, and then it becomes an issue. But the thing about forgiveness is so often what we hold against someone else is becomes what's holding us back, because they're not interested in what we're holding against them in general. They may not even be aware of what we're holding against them. It's all about the angst and stuff inside of us. So forgiveness is really about releasing things that we hang on to too tightly. Doesn't mean we pretend it didn't happen, but it means we allow what is to be.
So the title for today is Give Out, Give Up, Give Forth. What is it? What are we talking about when we say give out?
We're talking about giving out, letting go of the stuff we're hanging on to about others. We're giving it out. We're releasing it out beyond us into the world. We are releasing ourselves from the burden of holding that. We're releasing the others from our holding them in some kind of constricted place where they can't grow, or which holds them back to some degree. So we're giving out love in essence. I'm sorry, I kind of got stopped. Go ahead.
Okay. So when you say giving out, so you're talking about releasing, letting go.
Yes.
So letting go of whatever it is, our beliefs, our stories that we carry, our things that have been handed down to us from our parents or society in general, like any of those things that are really outdated scripts that don't belong in our head, old stories, fears, lack, limitation stories.
Yeah, for instance, I had somebody share with me that they had really resented their mother for years and were angry and couldn't forgive them for the ways they've been treated, etc. And not suddenly, but at some point, 30 years in, they discovered something about how their mom had grown up and what had happened to her. And all of a sudden they realized that they had put all this stuff on her that she couldn't have handled because she was in no place to handle at the time things happened to her. So a lot of times we're forgiving others for an expectation of them that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, then it becomes both ways. Now we have to release ourselves from that expectation, but we can release the expectation from them. Does that make whatever things may have happened that have affected us or felt injurious to us okay? No. But it shifts our ability to have compassion and love for them. And that's what forgiveness is about, is moving into that space of compassion and love instead of blame.
And this is important in this work of becoming abundant or opening up to your abundance, because as we have to let go of what doesn't serve us, let go of our old stories and limiting beliefs.
Even if we just go to the idea of circulation, we can't circulate things if we have everything bottled up inside. There's no room for any of the abundance that's available to us because we're not letting anything out.
Right.
So we have to let things out to create the space for newness and creativity and etc. to flow back in. And that's where the abundance shows up, is when we actually are able to see the world from a creative stance, when we're able to experience the world from a place of compassion and love versus a place of blaming, looking at what's the problem and now we're going to blame that. We're going to identify the issue, and now the issue's out there and now I have no control over anything.
Yeah, and being okay with it. Like, it doesn't mean if you forgive somebody that the pain goes away necessarily, So I just want to share Shay. Shay says, compassion. Compassion is a necessary component for me as well as bulletproof boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean I'll go back. It has in the past and backfired. Never again, but I do forgive. It's fleeting. And then she said, feeling the mass of grief and anger absolutely necessary.
So what I'm hearing there is the word feeling sort of being perhaps somewhat of a synonym with the idea of experiencing, allowing the experience, of not denying that whatever it is the reality. It's not about pressing it down and pretending it's not there, because that in essence is the same thing. We're carrying it around with us because we haven't acknowledged that it's there. But allowing the feeling to come and move through gives us the space to then step into the next place in our life, the next opportunity. If we're full of that feeling because we never feel it and allow it to move through us like it's supposed to, then we are stuck being unable to truly have circulation happening in our life in the way we'd like it to.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm hearing, like, I'm thinking about old stories and how they, they live on in our minds, in our DNA. The voices from our childhood or past relationships, and all those kind of fear-based narratives that keep looping themselves through in our life. And so, how do we step into a place to really identify them? And identify those thoughts that are really showing up as uninvited, as that there are as not truths, I would say. Because there's, at times there's been stories I hear in my head that I go, that is not the truth of me, in this moment. It might have been at some point, or, something I believed somewhere along the way, but I think there's a time, it's like clothes. It's like growing up. There's a time when you outgrow your clothes or your shoe size, and you have to move into something more expansive. So how do we identify those?
Well, I think a couple of things. One is, I think certain things will come up in different places. They'll trigger again. You'll all of a sudden you'll realize that you're thinking about some event that happened, some interaction, some whatever. And if it keeps coming up and you keep having the feeling around, like, I'm mad at myself, I'm mad at them, I'm mad, whatever that is, then we haven't really let it go. And I think that's one of the ways that it happens. The other way is when we keep seeing ourselves react in certain ways, and we give ourselves permission to be with that reaction and allow ourselves to go under it and listen. Often something will come up that we either haven't remembered consciously or thought we dealt with or whatever it is, and we go, okay, so that's still there. I need to work through that. I need to forgive my mother. I need to forgive myself. I need to forgive whoever it is for that experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It totally makes sense. I'm just thinking, yeah, and also I think, we've talked about this before on the show, but it really, how do you check in with yourself? How do you know when your inner voice or spirit is speaking to you or through you? And, so what does your inner voice sound like, and how do you know when it's true? And I think there's times when even if you just pause with those ideas or thoughts that are passing to your head and ask, is that the truth? If you can get still and go within and really ask, is this the truth? Then it allows you to be able to differentiate on some level and remember the truth. You think?
Yeah. And I know there are things that I play through my head that I blame myself for, that I haven't really forgiven myself for. And those are tough. I mean, I have a story that plays every so often, and it came up again when we were talking. When I was in college and we were finishing up a semester, and we had several of us that were going backpacking, and we had set up a time to meet at the trailhead, and I had a paper that I had to get turned in that I hadn't finished. And I had some of the key pieces of equipment that people needed for the trip. And I'm embarrassed to even say, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours before I got the paper done, got it turned in, and was able to get to where I was supposed to be. And if you might recall, as many years ago as that was, there was not a way to send a message on Facebook or call or anything else. So they'd been waiting. And one person in particular, Kyle, there were a couple of other girlfriends of mine and him, and he was pissed. And rightly so. He was pissed. And they said, look, give us the stuff and you go home. And I think they were probably accurate on that part. But I feel like I let down, and I'm a bad person. It still comes up for me. That was really
out of integrity.
Yeah, that's it. It was really out of integrity. And it wasn't, it was a struggle between multiple integrities. But in terms of people, really the integrity I owed to were the actual living persons, not to the class. And so anyway.
But I think that's a great example, because that's a great example of a story from
40 plus years ago.
40 years ago, and you're still carrying it, and it's still defining you. And so
I still feel it.
You say, yeah, we could tell. And I mean, I think in the title of Give Up, it's like, where are we willing to give up the story? Great. So you've got this story, and now as a, older individual, you can look at it and see what it's taught you, and you can see all kinds of lessons, and you can revert to that feeling of what it feels like to be out of integrity. And so knowing all that, and knowing that that's not, your intention, nor was it, but never is it, or never will it be, to be out of integrity. Can you give it up? Because this is what is draining our energy. This is what drains our energy and blocks us from our prosperity, blocks us from the possibility of more good in more ways.
And when I heard you say prosperity there, what struck me was it's not about things and money, etc. It's about the prosperity of joy and energy and ability to be who I'm called to be in my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm held down by this feeling that I'm not worthy of that because I have failed to I don't even know what to say, I failed. But in my head, the story still runs that it was bad and therefore I'm bad and that's it.
Yeah. And so we all have those stories. And even if you can jump to a point in this time in your life and say, I know that's not true, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter because you've still brought the experience back up. You know what I mean? The energy is still there. So it's like that. I mean, to me, that's part of that's the giving up. And the giving out is really that letting go of patterns that you've been handing out, like unconsciously because of this camping experience 40 years ago. No, really, I'm talking about whether it's just, the fear of somebody telling you to go home if you don't do it right or whatever comes from it. I'm not trying to armchair psychologist you, but I'm just saying all the little things that come up whenever you feel out of integrity or whenever you feel whatever it is that sparks that emotion.
Or whenever somebody sees me as integrous, I feel, I find myself sabotaging that in some way, shape, or form because I know it's not true. Because that is still true for me.
Yeah.
Or has been.
And yes, and I think, go ahead.
Now, I mean, I don't know how much that's really been true, but I think that's a really good example of how that can be insidious. And about this forgiveness thing, it can be about anything, really. Because whatever we have taken and turned into some idea of our lack, limitation, and failure, then that becomes the thing that we can't, that becomes the block filling the space, that even if it's not literally filling the space, we keep filling the space for it to prove that it's right. At least that's my experience.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I just want to acknowledge Shay, because Shay brings up a good point that one has to be willing and courageous to identify these triggers. I am, I do, I did, and grief has an energy of its own, and acceptance again. I am, I do, I did. But I think, for me, speaking to that, it is a courage and it is a willingness to let those go and to acknowledge them.
Yeah, and let me just back up. To acknowledge them, I think, to acknowledge them is required before we can let them go. Because otherwise, we try to hide them, because they're not really true and people won't know. And yeah, to a certain degree, but if they're still running a story in our head, then somehow we have to acknowledge it, whether it's to someone else or to ourselves, but oftentimes to acknowledge it to ourselves requires us saying it out loud to someone, in my opinion. Or in my experience, maybe that's more accurate, in my opinion. It's kind of how it has worked for me.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that there's so many stories that run us on in our lives, whether it's I'm not enough, or I always mess things up, or I'm not good enough, or people always leave, or
Mm-hmm.
I have to in love, or there's not enough money, there's not enough time, there's blah 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 blah. And so how this for part of this for me is where the forgiveness or giving forth comes, is that how we rewrite these stories with intention, as we talked about last week, how we rewrite these stories to truly be able to shape our self-worth or our prosperity or whatever quality it is you're looking to fill there, but how we rewrite those stories to be able to live into them and let go of them and all of those things. Forgive, get out, let go. What do you think? What are you doing?
I'm thinking about what Shay has up here.
Again.
That's why energy work is so awesome. That kind of neuro-emotional complex can actually be cleared out of the body mind in a few minutes. But perhaps, and yes, there's some level at which that's the kind of thing that has to happen or can happen. But one has to get to the point where they're willing to allow that to happen. In your comment before, you have to be willing and courageous in order for that to actually work. But your next comment's really interesting. Also, maybe that so-called mistake has served you very well over the years. It was a lesson well learned. And I learned something in grad school called healthy shame, just saying. And yes, and I think, yes, there are points at which we learn a lesson which gives us an understanding and a compassion and whatever it is for how we live our lives going forward. But I think healthy shame doesn't continue to drive us in a certain cycle. What I think is interesting is to really look at things and go, wow, what is it that I do now? How is it that I function now that I struggle with that relates to something from before? Something like that. Like there's really this pattern of literally trying to prove that I'm not worthy in various ways. And where does it come from? It comes from, that's one identified experience. I'm sure there's other experiences, there's plenty of them. But just even acknowledging that and saying that now, there's a drop of anxiety. The anxiety lessens that I have to go and, it's really weird. It's really odd.
Well, it's really
I'm
cute.
really weird, damn it.
Yeah, so we love you for it. But I think, well, of course, we're out of time again, and this is, a huge subject that could go so many ways, So, if you'd like to receive the sheet for the week, please put your name and email in the chat. And again, it coincides with the book, The 5 Gifts. For what?
The five gifts.
It's right there.
Oh, it's right here. Oh, it's under my thing. 5 gifts for an abundant life.
When he says
5 gifts for an abundant life. That was it. That's all it is.
under his thing meant his computer, just for
Yes,
in case you
I
wanna
have my
know.
tablet here.
So yeah, it's in that book by Diane Harmony. And I think, the important thing to take away from this is that where in your life are you holding on to things that block the flow? Whether it's old stories, fear, things that are just blocking you, because forgiveness is truly what clears the channel of abundance. And then, if you're courageous enough and dive into it, what stories are you ready to stop telling yourself? And where do you notice like uninvited fear type stories to keep showing up? Where do they keep showing up? And, and running your life in some way.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
I'm just sorry you didn't get to talk. I apologize.
It's all right. No, I just want, as we close out today, I just want you to remember that forgiveness isn't about giving up. It's really about giving forth your truth, giving forth your worth, your value, your freedom. And every time you release an old story, you get to reclaim that space for abundance. Every time you kick out one of those uninvited guests in your head, we open the door for more clarity.
So are you saying that every time we would go in the garage and clean out a box, we would be making space for something else?
Absolutely.
And that's why we struggle, because we have a garage full of boxes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and it just really, it was a picture right then that was so clear.
Well, thank you. 4 years doing this show, and my job is finally done. Yes, we need to clean the garage. No, but it's true. It's because we're punishing ourselves. We punish ourselves in those moments that we go, oh God, we have a garage full and I can't get to it. And when we let go of that punishment, we return to ourselves. And then it can't drain us and it can't hold us back like that. So that is the challenge for this week. I think, if you could ask yourself this question and be with this during the week, what would change if you forgave yourself for one thing? Just pick one. What would change in your life? And take that out into your week. Know that you're releasing it, and that story no longer leads your life. And that as you give forth the truth, you are worthy, you are whole, you are free, you are prosperous, and you are loved. So keep rocking the love, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Rock on.
Rock on. Go blue.